Hey guys, before we get started with the podcast, we just want to let you know that we have submitted ourselves to be considered for the 18th Annual Podcast Awards.
The People's Choice.
The People's Choice.
Yes.
So we're now in the nomination period. So there is a link in the show notes. There's also a link in our bios to nominate us. The Dumb Dad Podcast for kids and family is the most appropriate place for us.
Mm-hmm. Because if we did comedy, we would probably just get buried. But hey, yes, you can go to podcastawards.com, or as Kevin said, link in the show notes. We'd appreciate your support by helping nominate us so we can get to the real voting period where we will absolutely be talking about it every second.
Yep.
We want to put a trophy somewhere. How about that?
Yeah. So check it out. Help the Dumb Dad Podcast get its first W. Those dads need it.
Thank you so much,
Thank
everybody.
you. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the Dumb Dad Podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm a dumb dad.
Hey there. My name's Evan. I'm a dumb dad.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers to you, homie. My homie. It's good to see you, bud.
Good to see you. We've been traveling. It's been a traveling podcast. I mean, the podcast didn't travel. We traveled.
It kind of did.
The podcasters.
It kind of did. I brought all my stuff to do the last one, which was fun. When we had our guests on.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You were out of town. I was just not quite out of town. The last podcast was with the group from I Love My Kid's Butt. Check that podcast out if you haven't already.
Yeah.
I did it alone in this room. It felt cold.
Felt cold.
Because we had the
AC
on,
was cranking.
It
was fun. It was easy to do.
How long has it been since we've done like a remote podcast? Like where we both weren't in the same room?
Well, it's been a minute since I say. I mean, we did a lot through the pandemic.
I did a lot through the pandemic where I was in a bathroom.
Yeah, you were sitting
in
on
my apartment building.
On a toilet.
And you were like, stop flushing the toilet. And I was like, I can't control what the neighbor above me does.
That was, you know what? We powered through it, which is what you're supposed to do on the toilet. I was in Seattle area. I was so far north of Seattle, but it's easier for people to understand that.
That's why I tell people I'm from Boston.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I have to explain for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There are other towns in Massachusetts.
Yeah, that no one cares about because they don't know where they are.
Correct.
But Boston, huh? Lobsters?
Yeah.
And the Red Sox.
There you go, Boston, huh? Harvard. No, I know. I know about the accent.
Yeah. I've seen Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
And The Fighter.
Did you go to school with Matt Damon? You can't put an accent on Matt Damon.
You can try. It's not really going to go well. I was up Seattle area visiting my mom and dad, getting the kids some good grandparent time.
Love it.
You were in Tejas.
Yeah, we went to. It's funny you say that, Tejas, because we went to Austin. We start there, and then we stayed at this hotel that is on the University of Texas campus.
A hotel that on the campus.
It's part of the University of Texas.
Yeah.
And there's like a set of double doors, I think, that goes into the campus that are like always locked. I think you have the key card in it, and it said Tejas on it.
So, how was Austin? You liked Austin?
I've never been to Austin before.
I've never been there, but all I ever hear is that it's good things.
It was really cool. We had a really fun time. We went there for 3 days, and then we drove to the Dallas area. Again, I'm not going to tell you where is McKinney. It's right next to it. It's not as bad as very high north of Seattle. McKinney has an airport.
How far of a drive was it from Austin to
It was
to
3.5 hours.
3.5 hour drive.
Yeah. So we flew in for 3 hours.
Uh-huh.
And then that blew my daughter's mind. I was like, do you know how fast a plane is? And she was like, how? And I was like, we flew for 3 hours and we went this far. And I held my hands out wide. And I was like, and then we drove for pretty fast for 3 hours and went only this far.
Went like, so if you look at a map, the scale is...
It's pretty crazy.
It's a scale.
But then we went to Dallas. But yeah, Austin was so much fun. I'd never been before. But we've been to Dallas a bunch of times. My wife's family's there. We did the same thing. Gave some grandpa some happy time.
Phil, missed that guy.
Some long-time listeners and followers of us will know about the great Pappy. Who used to live in this room that we're recording the podcast in.
Yes.
And who famously said, how do I stop this?
How do I stop this?
At the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
You're going to hear his voice at the end of every podcast because that's what he said the first time he listened to the podcast. He listened for 5 minutes and came back in the room. Maybe 15.
God, that's my favorite
Maybe
thing
15.
Ever.
How do I stop this?
That's my favorite thing ever.
The best review we've ever gotten. But yeah, we went to Texas. We went to some breweries. We went to this thing called Barton Springs, and it's just like a river that everyone swims in. And it was cool. It was
the way you described that just now makes it seem like
I didn't say bathe. Not saying that some people weren't. It was funny.
As long as it's flowing, as long as the water's recycling constantly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. I've lived in New York for a long time. My kids never lived in New York, but you don't swim in those rivers. And then LA,
not if you're alive, you don't.
Yeah, LA has a river, but I've seen like water fountains at Ace Hardware that have more water. So my wife had discovered to do that. That was like one of the things we like planned out. So when we drove our kids there, it was funny. It was like kind of a dumb dad moment of like, I parked and where all the cars were. And then I saw like, oh, we could probably go down this way. Instead of like looking for maybe a couple minutes of like, where's the best way to get to the river? I had us trekking through the woods. It wasn't far. It was just like, it was bad footing and carrying the kids. And then then we get there and there's just a ton of people. And I was like, I don't think everybody did what I did. And then I saw there was like a walkway, just like a quarter mile that way.
I like to do a peek, when it's like, there's no way there's parking. I give it a once through because you never know.
No, I got parking. It was walking to the river that was dicey.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you try to find a choice spot, but I'm not going to waste half an hour doing it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I kind of like if you're at the mall, or whatever, you're gonna like. Yeah. If it's gonna be a long walk potentially because it's busy or whatever you're doing, I'll give kind of a pass through. Maybe someone's leaving.
Yeah.
Once in a while you get rewarded, but more often than not you're walking.
Yeah. So we went there and it was funny how it just broke my kids' brains. We just like got there and they're like, we're gonna get in that. And at first they were understandably super grossed out by it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's two parts of it. There was like one part that like you can pay to go in, and we went there, and it was kind of an advantage. It was like that part was closed that day for some reason, but you could tell
because of all the bathing.
It was too much shampoo. Yeah, and get some mesh strainers.
Too many bath bombs.
Take out the bubbles. Isn't that fun when natural water has bubbles? It foams. It's so gross.
Yeah.
This didn't have that, but. That area was closed, which was, again, probably for the best because, one, you'd pay for it, which is kind of silly to go in just a natural body of water. And but, like, you could tell, like, it was just flat and it was a nice area to swim in. And then we looked over and so we're all, like, the regulars were. Like,
the locals.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, that's down the way a little bit. Sure. Get back in our car, drive over there. And that's where we trekked through the woods for a minute. But that area was cooler because there was huge drops in the water where like the kids couldn't touch, and like it was fun in that way. You could see it, so it wasn't like a surprise they disappeared.
Yeah.
This is someone.
There they are. They're down there.
They'll wash out eventually.
Yeah.
And so, but at first the kids were really grossed out because they like stepped on it, and it's just like it's like silt and mossy.
Yeah.
Just like they were just like,
feeling.
Oh, this is kind of slimy, and I was like, get used to it. Just get used to it and get over it.
This is real life in nature.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This is where we're naturally supposed to be.
Yeah. You realize like, oh man, we have city kids. Like we really have city kids.
They took to it right away though. Like at first they looked, ooh, and then they were like, wait, this is awesome.
But it's kind of fun.
Because there's like a little waterfall area. Yeah. Because like we're on the other side of like kind of like a dam.
Did you look up like this is a thing to do?
TikTok, everyone. My wife does all of our adventures now via TikTok because we're not getting paid by the app to say this because they don't take care of us anyway. But when we went to Solvang like a month ago,
things to do,
and she just watches video after video, and it's kind of like connect the dots. I was like, okay, so this guy said this. This woman said this, who also said this. Okay, so these let me look into that a little bit more.
I mean, in her defense, it's like a video account usually of like the experience or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, like case in point, I'm like scheduling my daughter's birthday, like this morning, and I'm like,
I think it's the same day as last year.
I'm like looking up like. Do I use Evite? I don't know. I guess I use Evite. And then I look up like, oh, what's an Evite alternative? And I find this article. I read the article and I'm like, okay, so there's some alternatives. People say like, here's what I like about this one that Evite doesn't do, blah, blah, blah. Like click on I like open tabs for like the 3 most popular ones. 2 of them don't exist anymore because then I realized later that the article I was reading was from 2009. I was like, so you stupid idiot.
You're taking kind of an older approach than my wife took.
Yeah.
I ordered a magazine. I went to the magazine shop.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's what I like about that. Not only is it like current like experiences, like this video was posted a week ago.
Yeah.
But then the account of it, and then you get to see the video of it.
Yeah. So we did that. So that's how we found, everything. And that's kind of like our new go-to now. And you just do that and then just find what's the common thing that everyone's saying about this area. Okay, now let me search that in the search bar.
Yeah.
And then enough people. Anyway, that we found this. And yeah, it was so much fun. The kids had a blast. We actually went there. We went there in a heat. I don't know if it's a heat wave or it's just Texas.
As far as I know, it's probably just Texas.
So
it's so funny you say that coming from LA. I mean, it's hot here.
It's different there.
Isn't it still a dry heat, Kevin? Or is it a Texas heat?
It's a Texas heat. It's not dry heat. They said that. My nieces said that because we visited our nieces as well. And they're like, oh, it's like a dry heat here. And I was like, really? Because I'm in the shade and I want you to put me down like an old dog. Put me to sleep
here is
with
fine.
A needle. Like,
here is fine.
Give me a steak and put me down.
A steak?
Oh, you give your dog a final meal.
Yeah, I just think like in the heat?
They're happy for it. Well, we'll get to that, but I also had a lot of Texas barbecue.
Oh, boy.
And it was wild.
I remember like going to, when we were in Kansas City for our buddy,
it was a
shout out Ian, but we went to his wedding and it was like, you got to have Kansas City barbecue. It was like, yeah, I know. We got to go to Kansas City barbecue. Yeah. And then probably, I'm going to say a portion of it was that we were a little bit hungover from the wedding the night before, but we went to the barbecue and it was like swelteringly hot there. And we sat in this place where it looked like they had beginner fans that were on a low speed. Mm-hmm. Didn't really seem like to do anything.
They're like on that single belt, and it's like, this is cute.
Like,
turn it up.
Can we not have? And they just laid out this like behemoth tray of meat and beans and everything, and it was like on any other day this would probably be, or maybe a different atmosphere. But it was just like sweating looking at it. It was like, how am I supposed to? I can't do this. And
I know from that trip and ever since then, I just know not to order like the useless things, like the slices of turkey or ham or whatever it is. Uh-huh. I'm like, no,
just get to the burn ends,
brisket, burn ends, ribs, maybe the pulled pork. But anyway,
I'm already getting sweaty. You talking about it?
Anyway, I had a lot of meat sweats, and it was pretty wild.
Another thing you have to power through.
Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of fun overall. Like I said, we went to several brews. That's a funny thing Austin does. We went, had a beer, moved on. Let me start there before the comment section. But we did go to breweries. What's amazing about these breweries, a lot of them had stuff for kids to do. A lot of them had playgrounds, like a full playground
at the brewery.
Yeah, like a full playground you would
Genius.
Go out of the way to drive to, and it was just
genius.
Great. So yeah, we had a lot of fun, and a lot of them we did that a couple times. And anyway, we just traveled, tried the food. It was a lot of fun.
Let's think of all the other places playgrounds should be. The grocery store.
It made me a little mad.
The golf course.
I was like, why wouldn't you have a playground at breweries here in LA? Like that seems so smart.
Well, land's expensive here.
I know. It doesn't need to be as big as theirs were.
Well, my favorite brewery is a garage.
Just your garage?
Yeah, my garage where I make the beer in the bathtub.
Crudely right.
No, I mean McLeod's over there. It's like auto repair row. They don't
even have parking. Never mind a playground.
They don't have parking. They have cornhole.
Yeah, they have
a really big chalkboard.
They have double parking.
Yeah, they have double parking.
Well, let me get to my and then you can go with Seattle. Anything eventful happen?
Yeah, we had some stuff. We had some stuff. Go for it.
Well, I had my dumb dad moment. So there's one thing we did that was not a dumb dad moment, but I'll tell the story and then we'll lead into that. But the dumb dad moment was just the start of the trip. Mm-hmm. It didn't go great out the gate.
In what way?
So, we get there. My sister-in-law, Katie, drove us. Thank you again. And And
you didn't thank her enough. You got to do it on the podcast.
No, I haven't thanked her yet. I'm just remembering. No, I did.
Hopefully she's a downloader.
I'm just remembering she drove us. I was like, where'd my car go? No, they drove us. It was very nice. And we should have known we were doomed. The rest of the trip went great.
Yeah.
No hijinks happened. It was nice. It was nice. But out the gate, we knew something was going wrong because we got there 2 hours early. We have TSA pre-check. With plenty of time. And we get through security pretty fast because of TSA pre-check. We walk. I think we walked to a different airport. It was so much walking. It was like jetways and walk. I've been to LAX a bunch of times and never walked that much. And with kids, it's awful.
That's interesting because I think LAX has a pretty bad reputation. It's a pretty good airport.
I feel like in the past it's always been like, go to this number. American is 5. Get there, check in. I don't usually walk too far. I mean, we walk to the other end, right? We get there and we go, okay, should we? It's like 4:00, so my wife and I are like, I don't want anything to eat. It's too early for dinner. We'll wait. And then we look and just like a ping happens on our phone as we notice a bunch of people are leaving. And we're like, huh? And they're like, your gate's changed. We don't want to do it here anymore. And we were like, okay, so where is it? Is it the next one over? No. Do you remember where you started? Go back there.
No, that's not really on. I don't know. Is that on LAX or is that on the airline?
Yes.
To change your gate.
I don't know.
Whatever it is you were walking.
Who can I yell at?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can let it all out here, buddy. It's a safe space.
It was just like, oh, okay, never mind. And then we walked for a while again, and people are boarding. I mean,
how much stuff do you have with you? Like you're checking bags,
we checked
right?
a bag.
A bag. You check it. You got to bring a car seat, right? How many car seats did you have to bring?
2. Check those right away.
You had to bring 2 car seats.
Well, a booster and a car seat.
Yeah.
So luckily you can fit those all in one bag.
Yeah, sure.
You did that dumb thing you do when you get married, which is like you register for a set of suitcases. So there's one that you'll never use. One that you'll use a ton.
Yep.
And 2 maybes.
Depends where you're going.
So this time we used the one you'll never use, the gigantic one.
Yeah.
But the problem with a gigantic one is
there's
a 50-pound limit. It's like, so we got one of those weights.
Yeah. Digital scale.
You pick it up and it tells you how much it weighs.
Pretty essential because standing on your thing at home, trying to see your feet, going, holding this thing up, and then like, okay, do the math. Do the math.
Stand still. The numbers are flying. Oh wow, I've gained weight.
It's within 10 of something.
Yeah. Oh wow, there must be 70 pounds of stuff in this suitcase. Let me just put it down. No, there's only 35 pounds in there.
Do you think ERR is over the weight limit?
So yeah, we got the biggest suitcase. We weighed it. We got there. So yeah, we checked one, and then we all kind of carried stuff, and it all went fine. Actually, it's one of those things where somebody works somewhere, so they're not impressed with something they see all the time. But like, I put it on the scale, and it was 49.5, and I went, ha! And she was just like, "Okay, you're all set."
You forgot a bag tag.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Like, okay, that wasn't cool. All right.
Yeah. No, it's a half pound.
Yeah. You could have fit more in there.
Yeah. She's impressed when it's like 49.950. 49.9. Yeah. 49.9.
Yeah.
Take the bag tag off.
Stop lifting it with your toe, I can see. Lifting the corner. So anyway, we get to our gate. We board pretty much right after that. That 2 hours were gone.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously board quicker than 2 hours, but so we get on the plane, and it was like a 3-in-1 of like where we were sitting. So my wife sat with the 2 kids. We usually alternate per trip.
Yeah.
This is where the dumb dad moments it's already happened, and now it's going to continue to happen, which is my wife had stuff to do. She had some work to do. So she was doing it on the plane
while sitting with the 2 kids.
Who we like.
What are you watching?
Huh?
With the cocktail you ordered.
I was on guilt.com. So
yeah.
So she's doing some work. So we like didn't give them much screens because like we like to just charge up that anticipation so that when they get on leave us alone. You get 3 hours of screens. Go nuts.
Yeah. It's a free for all in the sky, man.
And my daughter did.
It's a free for all up there.
And my daughter did. She went nuts for 3 hours, and then my son did as well. But he started getting needy.
But he also physically went nuts because he kept 3 hours on an airplane.
His body was just like, speaking of charged, was just ready to go.
Yeah.
So he kept grabbing her by the chin, which is something he doesn't normally do. Which was funny until it wasn't. But he would just grab her by the chin and turn her face to look at what he was watching on the iPad because he was like playing that Endless ABCs. I've talked about it before. If you guys got a young kid,
it's a good one.
Endless ABCs is a great app. It's worth the $10 or whatever it costs. It will teach your kids the alphabet and how to spell. It's very cool.
It's good.
So he's playing that every time he lined up the letters of a word, which doesn't take long. He grabs her jaw and turns it towards him, and he did it like the whole flight. And then the drink cart comes. My wife and I get a drink, and she's dealing with it. And it was one of those things I'm like, my wife's like me, where it's like, if something's bad and if it makes you grumpy, you kind of like, dig your feet into it. Where I was just like, do you want to switch? And she's like, it's fine. But it like, we should have.
Yeah.
Like we definitely should have.
Yeah.
But she wanted
the drink cart came. She's like, park that here.
Yeah. She's, can you stop putting your foot on the cart and lifting the corner? You guys are the worst. And then later the flight attendant like walked by and like threw me another whiskey. For no reason. Like, you're doing great, Dad. And I was like, this is like what we talk about all the time on the podcast of like dads, the bar is on the floor.
Yeah.
And this was another one of those moments where it was just like, oh, I'm not. Why?
What a guy. I saw him ask his wife if she wanted to switch.
Yeah.
What a guy.
And he kind of muttered it, but he still technically said,
well, it's because he had a couple whiskeys in him.
He was waiting.
Because the movie was getting good over here, but...
You've seen John Wick 4? I've only seen the first one, but I'm keeping up.
Oh, man.
So, anyway, so then the flight ends. We're all getting tired. We land, and we're stupid. Sorry, dumb dad moment was not eating before we got on the flight because it was at 4. That's too early for dinner. 3-hour flight at 7 plus 2. It's 9. But like, I think our flight left late. By the time we got, maybe our flight was later than that. Maybe it was before that. It doesn't matter. Maybe our flight was at like it was 5 when we decided because it was like by the time we got our car, get the rental, drive all the way to the hotel, get checked in. It's now like 11:30, and they
ate at like 2 p.m.
Yeah. Well, the kids we kept feeding, but it was us, the two of us.
I see.
We get the stuff, snacks, and stuff.
From the plane.
Yeah. The kids were taken care of, but we were not. And then now we're really hungry, and it's like 11:30, which I know.
I would imagine your wife is
like
actually probably pretty hangry at this point.
Yeah, it wasn't great. So I go to get us some food. We look up food trucks, and we were excited about the prospect knowing we were going to land late. And we were like, but we'll get some fun. There's a lot of fun food trucks in Austin. We'll get some fun food. And then maybe I'll get like some wine and we'll have a couple glasses of wine. And we will just like have a little dinner while the kids sleep or something. No. No. You can't even like look at alcohol after 9 p.m. in Austin or something. I don't know. Everything is like definitely closed.
We're done.
Yeah. The bars are open, but like, have a water cup, sir. Which was fine, but then I went to like the only food truck that we could find that was open at this hour was like this one that had okay food. So I went and I got us like we're like, you're so hungry, you're not hungry.
Yeah, I'm not sure what my body's doing to me right now.
So I got us like some kind of like some loaded fries. Terrible choice, but it was the best one on the menu.
It's because you're so hungry that your stomach's like, I thought we were shutting down shop for the day. Now you're banging on the door.
So cut to my...
And you're bringing that with you?
Yeah. So cut to this hotel room has like, it doesn't have like, it has the toilet, has its door, but like the sink area is in the room still. So it's like, we're just standing by the sink.
Yeah.
Eating wet fries.
Oh. Welcome to Texas.
And drinking water, and it was just so hot already, and all the rooms were hot. Like everything just baked, and it was a bad start. It was like it was a dumb dad moment. That's a dumb dad moment.
Eating wet fries near the toilet is
over a sink.
Man.
And I'm pretty sure it was one of those moments that when he went to season the fries, the cap wasn't on the salt. And then he just was like, Whatever. It's midnight. He's probably wasted. That's probably his thinking. We weren't at all. And we ate the saltiest fries we ever had. They were wet. It was just terrible.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Otherwise, great trip.
Fun date night.
Yep. Yep.
Great trip. That's fun. Okay, so I will say this. We were pretty excited about our trip north because, again, my mom and dad live quite a bit further north from actual Seattle.
Right.
And for the last 8 years, longer, for the last forever that we've been traveling up to Seattle to see them, even before kids, you land in SeaTac International Airport. Mm-hmm. And then definitely after they moved significantly further north, it's a 2.5 hour flight up to SeaTac. And the nice part about the travel was going over to Burbank, the airport here, which is about like a 20-minute drive, 25-minute drive. But then once you land in SeaTac, that airport kind of sucks. And so when you land, you have to go to like the underground tram train first, which the kids think is super fun.
Always.
But you're like, it just adds to it. Takes forever to get off the plane. Mm-hmm. Everybody does the thing where they stand up and they're standing there for 20 minutes. I'm the first one to stand up. And it's like you're just standing there for 20 minutes until they let you off the airplane. Mm-hmm.
It will never not be fun hearing the sound, like the desperate sound of like, boom, a million seatbelts getting undone. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Remember when we went to Florida and like you could tell all the people that turned their phone on before they should have because there was Amber Alert and then like all these all these Amber Alerts were going off like while we're still in the air.
Yep.
It's like you just outed yourself for turning your phone on too early. So everyone's whatever. That's how it normally is. And you go over to baggage claim and then you're waiting forever for your bag.
Yeah.
And then I usually travel with my golf clubs because I play golf and want to bring my sticks. So those are over at oversized baggage, wherever the hell that is. You got to go, wherever they stick those. And then you get in the car and you go to my mom and dad's and it's sometimes like an hour and a half drive north. So it's just a long day of travel.
Right.
They have just opened up a smaller airport. That's like 30 minutes from my parents' house.
That's great.
And it's like a brand new airport. The switch is, then we got to go down to LAX. But I still maintain like the traffic around LAX is kind of wild. Especially if you go pick people up.
Yeah.
It's wild down there. And they will pick you off if you do something wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Ticket. I mean, they are waiting for you to make a mistake down there. My biggest key is like, what's the fastest way I can get all my luggage to somebody else?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
It's like the fastest way I can make that happen. We still do a pretty good job traveling light. But still, even with my clubs, it's like I have my huge suitcase. I can wheel them behind me. This is the first time the kids wanted to bring their own little suitcases. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to be responsible, pulling them behind themselves and everything. It went pretty well. But still getting to LAX, it's like there's a bunch of little sections. Once you get to your section, you're in your little section.
Yeah.
So the nice part was going and just flying to this like smaller airport, which is like brand new. And it's like we were off the airplane and threw bags in hand in my mom and dad's car before we would have been off the plane at SeaTac. Mm. It was like luxury living. Like we had arrived.
Yeah.
And on the way back, it was like we show up and they have 3 gates.
That's great.
They have gate 1 and gate 2A and 2B. Like that's it.
Didn't want to say they had 3.
Couldn't do it. I think it's like it splits like a Y. Like in case you that anyway how they're doing it there.
Sure.
But like it was so wonderful.
Yeah.
To do it that way. So dumb dad moment was all week long. We fly north in the summertime. Way up north like that, it stays light for so long. And almost every day, we're like out in the backyard and my mom and dad's making s'mores. And like my wife and I look at our watch and it's like, it's 9:15. Like we're not even close to going to bed.
Yeah.
So luckily for us, it's summer. We still have an 8 and a 5-year-old. Yeah. So it's like, not great.
Not great, but it's fine. You're on vacation.
It's fine. We don't have to be doing anything the next day or whatever. Your kids are still they still wake up at like 6:45, 7:15 in the morning.
So can I tell you?
But that was the dumb dad moment. Was just like looking almost every night, looking at the watch, going, "Oh God, we're having fun. They're having fun. This is great. We're relaxing." But it was still like, man, we are not paying attention to when our kids should be going to bed at all.
So we kind of did that as well. as I told in my dumb down moment, we didn't get into our hotel till at least 11:30.
Yeah.
I went and got food, came back. Nobody's asleep still.
Went and got some wet fries.
I got some wet fries. Anybody want some wet fries?
Large order of wet fries, please.
They're like, over here, and
Extra
I throw
salt.
them and just eat them off the wall. So that night they went to bed late, and then we just had fun in Austin. So we're 2 hours ahead. So we just had fun in Austin and stayed out late the first night, the second night. And by the second night, maybe the third night, we were both like, they're going to bed really late. Mm-hmm. But it's like 10:30. So we're like, okay, 10:30, 11. We're like, well, that is late. But then they're sleeping till like 9.
How?
Because they were still on LA time.
Doesn't matter.
And
your kids still do this. You have it, man.
Blackout.
You have this magical thing.
So they're called blackout curtains. And
dude,
so we drew the blackout curtains.
I could give my kids.
We kept them there all week. We
stayed in that window.
We stayed in that window. Then we were like, we gotta stay in this pocket, which got really scary because like the last night it was like we were kind of out of stuff to do by like 7:30. I think we had dinner with her family. And it was just kind of like, well, let's go keep them awake somewhere for 2-3 hours. Yeah. Like, that's not ruined. We do not want them to hit Texas time the night before we fly back.
True. I like that you just rode the wave.
We rode the wave of staying on LA time the entire time, and it did pay off, and we got really lucky. Then we got back here, and it was hilarious because they went to bed at midnight because our flight was late coming back here. Kids went to bed at midnight. My son like fell asleep on the plane, but then was awake the whole drive home. Like he had a nap. It was great. He fell asleep at the last like 20 minutes of the flight. Yeah. And then I was like, oh no. And they woke up when we got him up. And then he's just like wide awake the car ride home. And I was like, we are in a lot of trouble.
I think we're about to take a week's worth of repayment.
So then then they went to bed like midnight or something.
Yeah.
Back when we were back home. And at 6:45, he's climbing in our bed like, what's up? What do we do and get out of bed? And we were just like... Which was kind of like, this is successful, though. He's not up at 4:45.
4:45 or something. I don't know, man. I'm still telling you, my mom and dad have blackout curtains in the room that my kids stay in. Blackout curtains.
Yeah.
They're going to bed at 9:30-ish every night.
Yeah.
My son every day woke up like 6:45 a.m. My daughter woke up like 7:30 a.m.
That's good. 7:30 is good.
I mean, come on, man. We're on vacation.
Yeah,
You're talking about 90 extra minutes of sleep.
I'm talking about grandparents. I'm talking about you got grandparents. They don't
get up that early.
They do when they're visiting. Go jump in their bed. Go jump in their bed. They would love that. Don't jump on grandma's leg. It's broken.
Yeah, exactly. It's if you can figure out a way to bottle that and sell it, you should do it because you have it. I think it's called melatonin, but you should rebrand it.
They do have melatonin. We've never given our kids melatonin. Have you ever given your kids melatonin?
I think we tried it once.
Yeah,
didn't work.
No.
Oh, I don't know what it is, man. We don't have that.
Yeah.
But I will say this too. We've prided ourselves in traveling early with our kids when we've needed to. I mean, I know your mom and dad live closer, so it's a drive. So, but
they drive well.
Yeah. Your kids drive well. So we've always flown with them. So we're pretty seasoned getting on airplanes. Yeah. They know the drill. They're not scared of it. They know the drill, what to do, how it's going to happen, everything. So we're pretty good at that. And we had, man, I'm not going to remember the brand. It's like Go-Go Wheels or something like that. I'm sure some people have seen this.
Wheels?
Something like that. It's this little contraption you get that is like, it's got a suitcase handle that's extender handle and a little L-shaped fold and a couple of like rollerblade wheels on it. And the whole purpose of it is that you stick it under a car seat and strap it through a car seat where the seatbelt goes. Yeah. And that way, when you got a little one, you're just ripping through the airport like it's another suitcase. So they sit in the car seat.
Did you do that?
Yeah, we've still had it. We travel every time with it.
See, we didn't do it this time because we just checked it right away. Because my son is chaos.
But I'll say this. The thing broke.
Oh.
It broke. On the way back, so when we landed at LAX, it was like in a couple pieces in the bag with the car seat. Oh. I mean, I don't think we'll hesitate to go get another one, even if we only use it a couple more times. I think my daughter's pretty close to... She's tall enough to get out of a car seat. She's tall enough for a booster now. but she's a peanut. I mean, she's so little.
Right.
So she's technically tall enough, but I don't think we're going to take her out of a car seat just yet.
No.
So we'll roll with it just a little bit longer. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, but I think we'll probably reorder one of those. You know, you do this as a parent. There's a lot of things you see other parents do or products they have, and you're like, whoa, what is that? I mean, like, it couldn't have been more of like a commercial when the first time we were flying, I think with just my son. And it's like, a car seat is great because it saves your kids' lives, but it's also, there's no way to carry it. There's no way to pick it up and carry it. It's heavy. Yeah. There's no handles on it.
The best way is you use that anchor for the back of it, throw it over your shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like heavy, and but then you're not just walking with that only. You're also dragging a suitcase that's 49.5 pounds, and you're on crappy wheels, and you got your backpack. And that's our scenario. The first time we're traveling through an airport, and we see this family like glide past us.
Yeah,
like. Happy as can be, just cruising through the airport, kids in a car seat on wheels, and it's like the dad or mom is just pushing him through, and we were like, what is that?
Yeah.
I mean, like that was just like probably 6 years ago, and we had that thing ordered and sent to my mom and dad's from the gate before we took off to land so that we had it on our way back. It was like, that needs to be in our life.
Yeah.
It was so convenient.
We got one of those as well. Ours is from Britax, because that was the car seat we had at the time was.
You're a company man. You got a Britax car seat, you get a Britax.
I know it's compatible.
Britax roller.
I know it's compatible. We talked about having it this time because we've had it for years, but then COVID, nobody traveled. So then my daughter was out of it by the time we started traveling again because she's in a booster.
Yeah.
But my son's now in a car seat. But my daughter, probably some of your daughter, is like... They would love to get in a car seat and get pulled around. This is lovely. I enjoy this. Thank you. And my son is pure, like 100% pure chaos. But he was just like, he would start flipping out and screaming and chew the seatbelt to get out. Like, he wants to be where the people are. He's a man of the people.
Yeah.
And he wants to just like look at everything and run around. And it was just kind of like, we discussed bringing it this time. And it was just like, no, let's just check it. Yeah. Because if we bring it and he does lose it, like there's a chance he would have loved it, but he might have only loved it for 2 minutes. But there's a chance he would have loved it, but there's a chance he would have wanted out. And now we have one more thing we're carrying. Where
it's like, one more thing. I get that.
We can just check it right when you walk in the front door. Like
now you traveled to somewhere you've never been before, but the luxury we have going home is like you traveled with a car seat and a booster. We ordered 2 boosters like forever ago and just sent them to my mom and dad's. So it's like they just have them in their garage. So when they come pick us up, it's like it's in the car for us or whatever.
That's
it's
nice.
Like because we want one less thing to carry around.
Yes.
Okay, so before we go, I want to also admit something. I did the most dad thing ever, and I didn't even realize I did it or was doing it in the moment until like an hour after. So I told you this thing broke. Okay. The fold down part broke. So like the part that like holds the support of the car seat just like shattered off.
Yeah.
No saving it. Okay. So we get home. My wife's like, it's a bummer that this thing broke. I'm like, it's okay. You know, we'll get another one or whatever. Like, I'm kind of surprised it didn't break a long time ago.
Yeah.
The way that you've seen people throw things onto the airplane. I mean, it's like this thing's, you know. And then yesterday, she goes, should I just go throw this thing away? And I go, I don't know. No, I don't know. Just leave it there and we'll figure it out later.
Oh.
And then yesterday, I like parted it out. I like
you scavenged it.
Yeah, I went into the garage and I got like a couple of Phillips heads, some needle nose pliers, and then I was like, "This thing's some of these pieces are still good." Like
my god!
Like the suitcase handle that you push the button and it extends it,
yeah,
and collapses. Just a couple of Phillips heads, like a Chicago screw holding it together. Undid that, set it aside, and then
what?
And then I took the pin that holds the wheel against the bearing in place and slid out the rod and reassembled it. So I have like these 2 like really nice rolling wheels on this rod, and then took the strap off, that ratchet strap, and like set it all aside and went and stuck it in the garage. Like maybe I could build something with that later, and then threw the other pieces away. And then like a couple hours later, I was I can't believe I just did that. I still have the pieces. I'm not going to throw them away.
I just put garbage in the garage.
Intentionally. I intentionally
put garbage in there.
Yeah. Like I went to like a car yard and was like, well, these pieces are good for something.
Oh, so there's a lot of meat still on this bone. That's what you did.
Yeah. I did it. And I still have the pieces. And someday I'll be rewarded for it. Probably not.
No, probably not.
Oh my God, dude! I was
good.
Like, oh, I can't believe I just did that. I was like,
I understand keeping parts, but like for that, I'm like, you're not gonna do anything with that stuff. But now you have the option to.
I have the option to,
which is
that is what you hold on to.
That's what 20% of the garage is.
That's also why we all have like 37 hex keys from the IKEA builds of the past.
Most of them are the same size.
One day I'm going to run into a situation where I don't have the right hex key, and it might be in this Ziploc bag.
Exactly. Well, good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you guys are home safe. We're back on normal time.
Yep.
Even though I'm still pretty tired. But that might just be parenting.
Pretty tired. Yeah, well, here's to wet fries and traveling.
Guys, if you have some traveling nightmare stories, email us. dumbdadpod@gmail.com. We want to hear your dumb parenting moments. We'll read them on the next mailbag. Or you can DM us on Instagram. We're at @thedumbdads, which is our handle on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Threads.
There it is.
We're on the new app Threads.
Yeah.
So check it out.
We are in the know.
Yes.
I don't really know how to use it yet.
Yeah,
we'll get there. We'll get there.
But you can go on YouTube, subscribe to it, follow our YouTube channel where you can watch full episodes of this podcast. Rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts if you guys haven't done that already. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thanks, as always, to @Purdue on SoundCloud for the music of this podcast and to my lovely wife, Annie, for editing this podcast. Evan, do you have a joke?
I got a joke for you. You ready? I got a summer joke for you. What do you call when you combine an elephant with a fish?
With an elephant with a fish.
Yeah.
What?
Swim trunks.
Not bad.
It's not bad. I kind of like that one, actually.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, elephants are adorable. We all love elephants. Mm-hmm. That's enough for us.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Welcome to the world, little one. Welcome to life.
How do I stop this?